Which way? Keep it going, keep it going.
Cheers, Neville, the stage is yours.
Thank you. Have we got a... Good afternoon, everybody. Wow, it's super to be here, and I'll have a look at, which way is this? This one? Is it this one? I'll find out in a minute, won't I? Oh, right, okay. So, 40 slides I've got to move you from where you are to where you want to be. And I will take you on some of my journey. Won't be my lifetime journey, but it will be on some of it. And I thought I'd put some keys in here as well for the future. So, the keys that I've learned from throughout my life. So you can see there's a book there. I wrote this book called The Answer is Yes, Now What is the Question? And we'll go into that later. It will. So here it goes, and see if it works. No, it doesn't. It's the opposite one. So you're always 50-50. If you're 50% wrong, you can be 50% right, and I'd rather have the 50% that's right. So, and you only want. I've only ever been 51% right to be a success anyway. So there's plenty of leeway. Now, 1950 I was born, and so between 1950 and 55. My mother decided she would not have any more children because she called me a little sod, and she said, "I wish I'd killed you at birth." So that was my upbringing, and I've got to tell you this. Because if you're watching it in this live audience, and if you're watching it on DVD or whatever there is, you know, social media, I must tell you this because my lawyer has told me so many times, I must tell you that all the content you must take as entertainment. Because I've made the mistake in the past by saying, if I can do it, I believe everybody else can do it. And my lawyer said, no, you're wrong, Neville, because you was desperate. You criticised yourself so much, you hated yourself so much that it drove you, and you was focused, and you did things that most people wouldn't do to get to where you are today. So I still say, if I can do it, majority of people can. So this was me at school. This is how I saw a book. This is how I saw the blackboard, the writing, and it moved about all the time. I blinked my eyes and the words, the letters were in a different place. Some of you may relate to that. But if you can't put those letters together and understand what words mean, then you can't write and you can't do hardly any subject. My best subjects were physical education, math, and until they started doing algebra. So I went from top of the class to bottom of the class within an hour, and that was it. So in school, I believe the school there is brainwashing, but they couldn't brainwash me. So a few people here. Shown here have not done too bad out of ADHD and dyslexia. So this was my father, and everybody can learn from other people, and I learned so much from him. This was him as he went into the war. He was a carpenter, so he worked on the building site like I suppose a lot of people here have done. He worked on the building site. He was a carpenter, cabinet maker and French polisher, and that was him one day, and they called him up, conscription, and in 6 weeks he went from a carpenter to a killer, and that's what they taught him. And he was in the Burmese jungle for 6 years, and atrocities that people don't want to know. And he'd come home a different person. So I'd been to school and been beaten, and I came home and I was beaten. Anyway, the thing was, he taught me to say, never to say I should have, because that's what he used to say to me between 5 years old and 15 years old. I should have. I should have gone into business. I should have had a shop. I should have had a furniture shop. And if he told me once, he told me 1,000,000 times that. And when I left school, I said, I never say I should have. And that's more difficult than you can ever imagine, because leaving school was, I didn't know anything. So this is what I believe. Whether you believe we're on a spinning ball that's going 1,000 miles an hour, 350,000 miles an hour through what they call the Milky Way, whether you believe that, you can't get off it, you're captured, or whether you believe it's a flat earth and you can't get over land through Antarctica because the army won't let you. Whether you believe that, I believe we're all stuck and we're all in a fun fair. And you go into this fun fair when you are born and you leave when you die. And it's up to you what you make of it. And we all start on the small rides like the teacups. It's safe. But some of us want to progress. So 10% of people progress and leave 90% going round and round on the teacups for the rest of their lives. They're really safe, and I'm not saying they're happy in their jobs, but they get a job and they do that every day, day in and day out, and they don't want anything to upset them. So that's good for the people who are in the room, because 90% are not your competition. 10% move on. 9% of those people are going crazy. They get the ticket, which is the ticket for not so high, not so low, not so fast, not so slow, and it drives them mad. They want to get on in life, but they restrict themselves. They get a mortgage, they pay their mortgage off, but they want to go into business, but they daren't. They're not risking their money, what they've earned. So they stop. They stop on the fence, and that's their life, driving themselves mad. And there's 1%, which I think I'm talking to in this room. The 1% go on. The 1% take the risks, and the more risks you take, the more that you'll be rewarded. So this is the ultimate ticket that we're all in, that we're all on, going through this fun fair in this life. And there's one or two things that you need to know. And if you haven't been through it, you will go through it. You have to not just go on the rides, but you have to go through the house of horrors. And whether you've been or whether you've not, you are going to go through the house of horrors when you're in business and when you're the 1%. And what I'm saying to you, the key is expect it and know you can come out the other side, because shit happens. So the key is here, to be prepared to be a millionaire or a billionaire, because it is possible. So 1965, I left this institution, which was called school, and there's opportunities all around, there is. And I started my education when I was 15, because I'd learned nothing. The only thing I'd learned in school was to run quick, to duck when a punch was coming, and to become a truant. Now, the way to become a truant is if you are going to attend a class, and you're going to get beaten because you can't understand what's going on in the class, then you become a truant. And you do this risk assessment. It doesn't matter how old you are, you do this risk assessment of if they find out, you will be getting a cane. But that's in the future, that's tomorrow. A cane tomorrow is better than a beating today, because you know you're going to get a beating today, but you hope that they won't catch you and you get a cane tomorrow. So I left school. Obviously I didn't take any exams, did I? Because that was me. Didn't take any exams. So I was looking for opportunities in my life, and what did I want? I liked animals. I'd always had animals, and I hated people. I just hated them with a vengeance, because everybody called me stupid and hit me, and those were two bad things they were. So I wanted to work on a farm in isolation. And whatever you think, whatever goes through your mind, you will achieve it. You will. So I got a job on a chicken farm, and it was in isolation as well. So the other thing I wanted, what does every 15-year-old boy want? Well, I don't know nowadays, but in 1965, every boy that I knew wanted a 15-year-old girl. So I put that into my mind. But it is amazing that people never set their goals, and they never give themselves a chance for opportunities. Once you've set your goal or set your goals, you focus your thoughts on them, and opportunities will appear. "1966, so it was the 25th of June. There was a knock on my mum's door. My mum went to the door, and then she come to me and she says, "Neville, there's 3 girls outside looking for you. Mind what you do." That's really, she didn't actually talk like that. That's a bit of I'll get it in a minute. I've seen it on television, somebody talking like that. Anyway, so she said, "Mind what you do." So 2 girls I knew had brought this other girl round to have a look at me, and I didn't know that at the time, but she had a look at me and she decided, yes, that was, he'll do, and that was great, because that's the first time in my life that I'd felt good, because this person thought something of me and didn't think I was stupid. So within 6 weeks we became inseparable, and we decided that we'd spend our life together, and we had some goals: 1, to get married; 2, to have children; and 3, to get a house. Now, if she was here today, which is not, I normally say that was 6 weeks after we met, and that night we'd set our goals, and we was going to see each other the next morning, and I've never seen her since. But she's not here, so I'm not saying. Oh, I did say it. I get used to these talks sometimes. Yes. So decide what you want. Put it into your head, and we decided we wanted those 3 things, and have a one-track mind. So our first goal was the house, and we didn't want this house. It was a derelict house. It had no water, no gas, no electricity. It had a toilet outside in the yard. We didn't want that. We wanted a new one, but I'd been to a builder, and we chose our plot, and we chose the house, and it was £3,000 brand new house it was. And I went to the office to get a mortgage, and the guy said, we don't take the girls' wages into consideration, because they go and get pregnant and they leave work, and your wage, you don't stand a chance of ever getting a mortgage on your wage. And this is a key for you, because I went out there despondent, and Marilyn says, well, let's try and get a house for 2,000 or whatever it was. And I go, no, I'm going to save up my money and buy one cash, because in those days you could. But a lot of people would have come out there and felt sorry for themselves, and they would have used that as a crutch for the rest of their life. I could have got a mortgage, but I didn't earn enough, and that's why I haven't got a house, you know. Or when they go into business, I could have, or not gone into business rather, when they're talking to you, I could have been like you, but I was going into business and I couldn't get the money, or somebody let me down, or the bank let me down, or I went into partnership and my partner ran away and let me down, or I didn't get paid for a job, so I thought I wouldn't do it anymore, I'd go and get a job myself. So all these things you hear people say, and they use them for a crutch for the rest of their lives. So I saved £15 a week for a couple of years, and I also did something else. When I wasn't working, or at weekends or at nights, I would be looking around Peterborough, and I knew every single house. In that 2 years, I would know every house that was on the market, and the people I used to work with, when we had our lunch break, they used to take the mickey out of me, because one of them would say to another, oh, there's a house down Preville Road. And I'd go, yeah, it's a 2-bedroom semi-detached house, it's got a garage space, it's gravel drive, it's 1,900 or whatever it was. And they used to, but I knew, I'd done my homework. And this is something, if you want something, do your homework. Then this come up, it was £1,075. I'd got 650 saved up. And my father-in-law, and this is another key, you get other people to help you, because in those days, you wasn't allowed to buy a house unless you was 21, or like my solicitor said, unless you're responsible. Well, so, and 21. So I couldn't go into an estate agent at 18 and go and offer £650 for a £1,000 house, because they'd just throw me out. But my father-in-law, he could, because they knew he was serious. So my dad and my father-in-law owned the house until I was 21, but we paid for it. So the second goal was achieved July the 4th. Well, that was significant to me because it was Independence Day. So I wanted to be independent all my life. But of course, we're not independent. We're all reliant on each other. But it was good to think that at the time I was independent. The key to that is, well, you can see it on my face, can't you? It was wedding day. It was. So the third goal, which that came along pretty quick, that did. 1971, Elaine was born 26th of April. And that was my third goal. And a lot of people, they'll go, I've got my goals, that's it. And I did. I thought, we've got our 3 goals. What more do we want? Then I realised there's a lot more to life. Is there any water anywhere? Oh, is it there? Oh, thank you very much. Oh, coffee as well. I love cold coffee. Yes, so, no, it's not all that cold. Where were we? So, don't stop. Always have another goal. And another, and another. Have 20 goals lined up. So here we are. I loved Marilyn, and I still do, and whatever she wanted, I would try and get. So she said, well, we've got a terrace house. I'd like a front garden. I'd like a. Do you recognise it? Do you live in there? All right. I met somebody who lived in there actually a few months ago. Yes, so we bought this. So we sold that for 2,100. We bought that for 2,000. Now we was thinking we was investors, we was business people, but I was working 12 hours a day for somebody else. And so we got that. And then as soon as the paint was drying, not actually dry, because we renovated that house, we decorated it and put new electric and new boilers and stuff in, and we had an offer for it. And then Marilyn said, I'd like to go into the country. And so we bought this one in Northborough, and we was in the country. Well, that was great when we bought it because it was summer. But I was working away for 12 hours a day, and Marilyn hadn't got a car, and she'd got the baby, and it drove her mad. For 6 months there was snow, and all she could see was just fields of snow, and she hated it. All she did for 12 hours a day was watch the soaps on television, because it was isolated. So she said, I want to go into town near mum and dad. So I bought that bungalow there, Alexander Road, 7,500 in an auction. Now, you will all do things wrong, and I've done everything wrong, because I didn't realise at an auction you had to pay. It was, because, do you want to make a cheque? Why? Yeah, anyway, so I had to take Marilyn the following day, dropped her off in Peterborough, and she went to Barclays. We hadn't got an account there, but this is when managers had the authority to run their banks. So she went in there, she said, we bought this house last night for 7,500 and we haven't got the money. He said, what's your account number? And she said, well, we don't have an account. Well, why have you come to the bank? Because my husband dropped me off at my father-in-law's, which was just down the road. So you're the nearest bank. And he gave her the money. This is how it was in those days. So I've got this house I live in, that house, I thought I'm a builder. I didn't realise I was better at demolition. So I took the windows out, because there were the old Crickle windows, but I hadn't got money to put the new ones in. I took the chimney stack down. Why? I do not know. I stripped it. I made that house from 7,500 down to 1,500. It was plot value by the time I'd finished, and that was 3 months. How to devalue a house in 3 months, in one easy step. Get a sledgehammer. So then I had a letter from the bank, Barclays Bank, saying, your bridging loan has only got 3 months. What's a bridging loan? I thought they'd give us the money, and it's a bridging loan, and if you don't pay it off in 3 months, we'll take both your houses and auction them off. By the skin of our teeth, we sold that one about a week before it was going to be taken away, but I couldn't live in there, so we lived in the backyard in a 10-foot caravan. And people used to say, how are you getting in that caravan, Nev? And I go, it's not too bad. It's got running water. They say, did you plumb it in yourself? I go, no, it's the condensation every morning running down the walls. It was awful. But Marilyn I used to go to work 12 hours a day. Marilyn used to cry 12 hours a day. She had got this child in the mud and the snow, and no washing machine, and she had got nothing that she could do, because we'd got no money to renovate their house, and there she was stuck. So I said to her, don't worry, you can't get any lower than this. Oh, yes you can. Yes you can, because I was made redundant, and this was my 18th job. I worked for the Ministry of Defence, and it was a recession coming along, and it was last in, first out. No redundancy, anything like that. So I went on the dole, and there's no benefits to the benefit system. So I became really down, depressed. I'd sleep most of the day. Well, I'd be in bed most of the day, because there's nothing to get up for. No money. So if you got up, you wanted to eat. So there's no food, and I couldn't renovate the house. So that was it. I got really depressed, and we decided that there's 1 million unemployed, and how would I get a job? I couldn't read or write, and there was 1 million other people who probably could. So I stood no chance whatsoever, and we went through the A to Z, the yellow pages, because there's no internet in those days. So we decided we was going to run our own business, but we'd got nothing. So we went through the A to Z, looked for the skills that we'd got. Well, I thought I'd had 18 jobs, and I thought I hadn't got any skills. I thought I'd learn nothing, and I thought you had to have a certificate to prove that you could go round to somebody's house and mend their fence. I didn't know these things. So we had no money and no skills, and so one day there was a commotion outside our house, and we went outside. And there was a big lorry with a crane, and opposite was a chiropractor, and they was having a new office built. And there was this lorry unloading big sheets of glass and windows. And I said to Marilyn, look, some twat's got to clean all that glass. And then I thought, I know a twat. Who could do it? What does it take? It takes a bit of rag, a bucket of water, and probably a ladder, and some fairy liquid. I thought, I can't make many mistakes on that. And then I realised all of the street, all the houses had windows, all the factories had windows, and there it was staring us in the face. That was what we was going to do for a business. So the following day, on the Thursday, I went to the Dole office. Same old thing. Have you done any work this week? Do you think I'd be in this place if I'd got a job? Anyway, I said I'm going to be a window cleaner. I'm going to start a business, and I'd like to come and tell you each Thursday how much I've earned, and then if you can make it up to the Dole money, then when I've reached that figure, I don't have to come here anymore. And they said, no, it doesn't work like that. You're either on the Dole or off. And I said, well, I'm too scared to go on my own because I've got no money anyway, so I'm too scared. I don't know whether I'll make it. So I said, but if I'm stopping, I need another £2 a week to feed my family. And they looked at my record and they said, see, you've got one child, yeah, have another and we'll give you the £2. And I go, I can't afford to feed the one I've got, and you're telling me to have another child. And they still do that today. So I was so angry and sad, but I was more angry than anything. And I said, you know what you can do with your Dole money? I will look after myself. And they said, are you signing yourself off? I said, I am. So I signed this yellow paper, and I didn't know. I still, at 24, still didn't know where my name's Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, but I didn't know where the G-H-T went. It was so confusing to me. I couldn't even spell my own name at 24. So I wrote this, whatever it was, I wrote down, and that was it. I went out thinking, sod them. Then I got on my bike to go home, and tears were coming out my eyes because I thought I'd let Marilyn down. What am I going to tell her? How am I going to get this over to her that I've not even got the money for the Dole money this week? So in Allen Road, if you know Peterborough, Allen Road is next to Alexander Road, and I stopped to calm myself down and to compose myself and think of a lie to tell Marilyn so it wasn't so bad. And I realised then the time had come to burn my bridges, to look after myself, to become responsible. And I was sitting on my bike with my handkerchief, I swore to myself that I would never, from that moment, ever go back into a place where I begged for money. I would never beg for any money ever again. And two, because they couldn't afford, this is what I thought the government would look after me. I thought they must be hard up if they can't give me £2. And I thought I will help them, because when I can, I will pay £1 million in tax every year. And I swore to myself I'd do that. And 20 years later, I started paying £1 million. I'd got up to £1 million. And the most I've ever paid in 1 year is just under £12 million. So I've kept my promise to myself. I did. So I went home, and Marilyn said, how did you get on? And I said, yeah, great. We now can do whatever we want in life. So I didn't believe it, what I was saying, but So therefore, the key is a new path must be trodden and a new determination to be better than anyone else in the field. Well, I was going to be a window cleaner, wasn't I? I couldn't be better than anybody else in the window cleaning business. Why not? I could teach myself. So that day, I was self-employed. I went into self-employment, and there was no plan B for me. I wasn't going back. I would never go back into another job. I'd never go begging for money. I'd never go back on the dole. So at 10:30 in the morning, I was a beggar. 12 o'clock, I was chairman of the board. Although I hadn't got a business, it was in my head. I'd burned my bridges, and by tea time, I'd made my first investment. I had 37 pence I spent for a yard of scrim, or a metre of scrim, which is a cloth to clean windows. And I went to my father and asked him if I could borrow his ladder, which he said yes, obviously. And the next day, at 8 o'clock, I went out my house. I'd normally be in bed by then, sulking, but the next day, I was out. I was knocking on neighbours' doors, asking them if they wanted the windows cleaning. So that's how we started the business, and never give up. So the dole office inspired me, because every time there was a problem, every time I didn't get paid, every time I didn't earn enough, every time there wasn't enough food in the house, I used to think of the dole office, and I used to think I'd be opening that door and the guy at the back would be saying, "Come on in, Neville, I knew you'd be back, you loser." And that's what drove me on every single day, thinking that guy would be calling me a loser. And I had 18 jobs, and I had this thing called an alarm clock. And that woke me up every day, woke me up to send me to somewhere that I hated, because I never really wanted any of those. I just wanted to be in business with Marilyn, and I threw that alarm clock away. And even if I'd have kept it, and even if it had gone off, I would have never heard it, because my ladders were up against a window at the crack of dawn. I would be cleaning windows or painting at the crack of dawn, so I never would have heard it anyway. So that's what inspired me, the dole office, every single day. So from window cleaning, 1974 to 77, by 1977 we had 6 people working with us. So from window cleaning, I cleaned windows for about 3 months. But one day, and this is where the book comes from, the title of the book, one day, about 3 weeks after starting, this lady came out of her house, and I was up the ladder, and she said, "Neville," she said, "while you're here," I said, "Yes, I can." She said, I've not asked the question yet." I said, "I will do anything that you want me to do, unless it's, as long as it's not immoral or illegal in my mother's eyes," because I was brought up with a cane, and I was with a cane what was behind the kitchen door, and she used to use it on me every day, and it was like, if you do anything wrong, boy, Lord Jesus will punish you. And if he's not around, I will. And he wasn't around very often. So we went from window cleaning to property maintenance very, very quickly. And of course, Marilyn started to help me when I'd got a few pound to put the baby in a home. And I didn't put the baby in the home. I put it in somebody else's home who was looking after babies. Yeah, so every time, so that doubled our profit. So the next week, the baby could go in to the nursery for longer until it was full time. And then Marilyn was full time. And she used to be mixing concrete, driving the truck, and painting and decorating along with everybody else. And that was that's what really started us going. And dropping the window cleaning because window cleaning, there was 30 pence per window. You could clean 20 houses a day, 5 days or 6 days a week. You knew there was a ceiling. By this time, I didn't want to have a ceiling on my wages. I didn't want a wage. I wanted to be rich. And I'd got that in my head. What is the point of doing something over and over and over again when you know the outcome is going to be X? You know, you know what you're going to get. I wanted more. I wanted the sky to be the limit. So window cleaning had to stop because gutter cleaning was £1 in the same time. Drain cleaning was £5 in the same time. So I would look at this, time and motion all the time. What am I doing? Minute by minute by minute. Am I earning? You know, and the more you earn is because the more good you do. People don't, they can do without window cleaners, but they can't do without drain cleaners. You know, can you imagine that? So they'll pay more for it. So the key to that is consistently move the goalposts. Move them every day. Push, push, push yourself. So here we are, 1977. Marilyn says, I don't want to do the bookwork at night, because she was doing the bookwork for us and hairdressing at the same time. And she says, what I'll do, I'll have an office. Oh, and we was doing some work for the local council. I remember it's so embarrassing. The local guy came round to have a look at some samples, and where were they? We've got a semi-detached house with a box room, and all my samples of the bricks and stuff were in the bedroom there. And he brought 2 of his colleagues along. There was 4 guys on this little landing there was, and I was going in and out of the bedroom bringing samples out. I thought, this is so embarrassing, I can't have this. So we decided to have an office. Before we got the office renovated, all the places down Borge Boulevard in Peterborough, there's about 50 houses, they was all being renovated into shops and offices, and Marilyn had the bright idea we'd have a shop. What we're going to sell, we've got 300 quid saved up. What we're going to sell, we didn't know anything about shopkeeping, but we had bought a second-hand pram, a second-hand cot, and a second-hand high chair. That's what we would do. We would do second-hand stuff, and we went out in the little van that we'd got, buying this stuff at night from the local newspaper, and started up Rainbow Warehouse, which was a shop. Now, you'll come to a point in your lives where people are jealous of you. They don't like what you're doing. They're probably mates. They're probably going, don't do that. You don't want to do that. That's too much work. You know, come down the pub or whatever it may be. You know, play cricket or do something or other. You know, because they don't want you to get on, because they'll have to get on themselves, and they don't want to. So you lose a lot of people along the way. And then, of course, somebody told the tax people that Marilyn was doing hairdressing at night, and she was earning 3 quid a evening or whatever it would be, and that was it. And then somebody told the taxman that I'd cleaned a second-hand lawnmower up and I'd not charged VAT, and this is what you get all the time. And I say, in business, you're climbing up a mountain of red tape. Just wear a hard hat, because it'll come crashing down on you. And if it hasn't already, it will do. Things happen, and you have to get over it. So it's like, don't poison your mind with hatred towards anybody else, because it will destroy you. So I'll say the key is you only destroy yourself. So forgive them and forgive yourself for not being better. So you move on quickly. When do you where's that? Sheep. Whatever the crowd is doing, and this is what we used to do, whatever anybody else was doing, whatever the other local builders were doing, we would go the opposite way. So whatever you're doing, try and go the opposite way, or you're going to become the best. So, but don't go with the sheep. If I was installing something and somebody said they was installing some solar panels, my company would install them day or night. They was install them weekends. If the normal people around me was installing 8 hours a day, I would be 24 hours a day. I'd be looking after the customer. I'd make a survival kit, especially nowadays, so enough power to make electricity for a one-ring cooker, a portable light and a freezer, and I'd sell it worldwide as a DIY kit for the preppers. And so think outside the box and build a business and then sell it, and then build another one and sell it. We sold 4 Kiddicares. The last one was the best at £70 million in cash, but the other 3 wasn't bad. It was like a springboard to get a bigger shop, and we've sold many businesses. So the key is to think outside the box all the time. When do you expand? Every day. I used to drive home in my car, and I used to say, have I bought my business today or have I sold it? And you may be wondering what I mean. If your business hasn't changed from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock at night, probably physically or mentally done something to enhance the business. If you haven't done that, if it's staying the same, you're buying your business. And would you buy your business? Would you buy your own business? And if the answer is no, then you should be doing something every single day to expand your business, to make it better, to make it more profitable. Adding something on. Why sell prams when you can sell high chairs and cots? Why sell cots when you can sell mattresses and bedding? Why sell those things when you can sell toys or clothes? Keep adding on. So we started working for people, doing up their houses, painting and decorating, then renovating terraced houses for people, for other builders or the investors. And then we started doing it ourselves, buying houses ourselves. It would take 6 weeks to renovate a house. We renovated 100 houses in Peterborough in the early days. 6 people, 6 weeks, 100 houses. And then we started employing other people to do it, subcontractors to do the whole job for us. So because our time was too valuable to spend on a house that was only going to give us a few £1,000 profit. So it's gradual. It's like going up a ladder. It's building all the time. So get excited, climb the ladder, improve and learn every single day. So this is, well, our feet didn't touch the ground, and I don't think they do anyway now, after 50 years in business this year. So, you know, been doing it a while. We used to buy corner houses and then chop the garden off and sell that house for what we'd paid for it or more, and you got a free plot of land. And it's a curbside as well, so there's no putting a drive in. There's, you know, the services were in the road, so it's easy. So we used to build small places on the back gardens. So we started getting into commercial, like dog grooming parlours and hairdressers and vets or whatever it may be. So this is the kind of thing that we was doing in 1980. So 1982, what a year that was. We'd been living in a caravan in 73, 74. We'd renovated, as soon as we could renovate the bungalow, we did, and we sold it because the bungalow was too big and it's too valuable. So we sold that, and and then went into a semi-detached new house, which was half the price. So again, don't be afraid to go backwards, to go forwards in the future. and we went backwards. And by 1982, we'd amassed a portfolio of about 4 houses. So, and they wasn't paying the rent either. I wasn't a very good rent collector in those days. So people was living in houses better than ours, and yet we was getting no rent. So then this came along. We bought a house we had in Old Walton for £70,000. It was near the shop in the Orton Centre. I thought that would be nice. And I was going to put a swimming pool on. And I saw this advertised in the Times, this swimming pool. And I went to have a look to see what the roof was like, because I didn't want condensation in mine. So I wanted to see what they'd done. And this house was £220,000. And in those days, you could buy a 4-bedroom house with 2 garages for £20,000. I just bought a really super house for £70,000. And the house I was living in was £40,000. So those were the kind of prices. And mine was a 4-bedroom with 4 garages and an office and gardens. Anyway, we went in there through the electric gates and we looked at each other, because we've got no right of buying it at all and no money to buy it. And we looked at each other and go, wow, this is nice, isn't it? And I went in, and as soon as I went in there, I said, I've seen this house before. And the woman, I said, who was the builder? And they told me who the builder was. And it was the best, well, it was the best builder in Peterborough at the time. And I remember in 1978, I walked into their office full of plaster dust, and the receptionist was there, and she looked at me like I was a bit of dirt. What do you work for us? I said, no, I just saw your office and I'm looking for a piece of land. I wondered if you got a piece of land. I go, no, we've got nothing for you. And I persisted, no, I want a piece of land and I'd like you to build me a house. Because I'm not a house builder, I'm just a jobber. And she said, no, there's nothing for you. I said, can I leave my card? And she said, no. And then I saw the house and the swimming pool on the side, the plans, and I pointed to this, thinking the arches. I want a house with arches, like Spanish style, would be nice. I said, that's the kind of house I want. She says, that's not a house. That's a swimming pool extension, and that's £80,000. So we've got nothing for you, thank you. And I thought, you? Well, you can imagine what I thought. And when I went in that house, the builder had gone bust, and the person who was having it built had gone bust. And I thought, this is a tick in the box. This is, I've got to have this. I must have it. And I offered them £180,000, and the guy said to me, who owned it, or was going bust at the time, he said, give us 160 and 20,000 in cash. And I said, well, I'll have to see if we've got 20,000 in the bank. So I went back. We'd got 20,000 in the bank. I rang him. I rang the agent about 3 days later, and I said, can I speak to Mr. So-and-so? And they said, oh, he doesn't own the house anymore. He's gone bust in the last couple of days, and we're not selling it. He said, the bank's selling it. So I rang the bank, and I said, how much do you want for it? I'd offered 180. And they said, 160. Now, you thought I'd snap their hand off, wouldn't you? But I was a bugger in those days, because I need a bargain, because if they're saying 160, I'll give them 130. So I started off 130, 135, no. And it was October or November in 81, and there was a recession. They advertised it again. There was no takers. I bought it at £143,000. And I sold my 4 houses, which I got investment, and I sold my house, and we sold the £70,000 house, and I sold that for £50,000. So I made a loss on that, but I got what I wanted. And we had 26 years in that beautiful house, 8,000 square foot, 8 bathrooms, 8 bedrooms. Oh, and when I bought it, it was first fix. There was nothing in there. It was the dearest house in Lincolnshire or in Stamford. It was the dearest house, and it was a shell. So we've already said, you don't go to your grave saying I should have. Nobody should say I should have. Just do it. And you have to take your business seriously. I take all my business. I've got 9 businesses. I take them all very, very seriously. But never take yourself too serious. You've got to understand you're human. I was the ringmaster in those days. We used to dress up at Christmas and have massive Christmas parties with hundreds of people that was associated with our businesses. Never take yourself too serious just because you're the boss. So here we are, 1986. We're moving forward now. So from the small properties that we were building, we started building commercial properties, steel framed sheds. I said to somebody on a plane a few weeks ago, they said, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I build sheds." And they go, "I need a shed in my back garden." No, I said, "Well, no, we build big metal sheds." What, garages? No, bit bigger than that. So here we are. This is the type of building that we started to build, and we haven't stopped. So we build for customers, and we make them practical, but we make them attractive as well, as attractive as possible. We don't want to just have concrete and steel. We want some foliage in between them and that. Right, Marvell Properties. Marvell Properties has been going now for 50 years this year. This was the window cleaning business that went on to Right Way Decorating and Property Maintenance, and then it went on to Marvell Properties. That's still going. It's still an independent mum and dad business. It's not even limited. So this is the kind of building in 2000 that we was buying. This one cost £3 million, 6 acres, 100,000 square foot. They wanted £3 million for it. Well, I hadn't got £3 million. I'd got 250,000. So the bank said, you can have £2 million. You've just got to come up with £1 million. I rang our broker and I said, I want 750,000 remortgage on our house. We hadn't got a mortgage, so I wanted a remortgage on the house. I got 750,000. Got the £2 million from the bank, rented it to Hot Point on a monthly basis for 18 months. Their rent paid the mortgage for my house, it paid the interest for the bank, and enough interest for the 250,000 that I had, and we'd made 200,000 in 18 months. Somebody had a fire down the road, and the agent come to me and said, "Are you still on a monthly lease with Hot Point?" I said, "Yeah, they will not take a 5-year lease." He said, "Can you get them out in a month?" I said, "Yeah." And they bought it, and I made 1.5 million profit. So I made 1.7 million profit in 18 months on that. We bought it back again. They spent 250,000 on the roof. We bought it back again cheaper than a couple of years later. And then we let it out for 10 years, and I got 4,290,000 in rent. And we sold it then for 5.5 million and made another 1.5 million. So what I'm saying now is, if you're not in this league, you can be, because I've just shown you where we started small and worked up and worked up and worked. So I could never have imagined it, but it does work. So 2005, I don't know whether you remember 2005, you could borrow money as long as you'd got a pulse. The Royal Bank of Scotland would give you whatever you wanted. They offered us £36 million overdraft to do what we liked on the 2 businesses that we'd got at the time for 0.80 over base. And always be careful, because banks will give you an umbrella when the sun is shining and then want to take it back when it rains. So we didn't take all that amount because the prices were too high. But we did build this Kiddicare building, and that was just a whim like that. We'd just already built one in Warrington, the second one in Warrington, and I built a 65,000 square foot one in Warrington. The following year I put 20,000 square foot on. The following year I put another 20,000 square foot on, and I thought that was it for life. And then I was going to build, I bought 6 acres to Hampton. I was going to build 2 warehouses and let them out. And my daughters, who were in the business, they come in for the office for a meeting, saw these plans, said, "What are you doing with them, Dad?" I said, "Well, I'm going to rent those out." And they said, "Why don't you build us the biggest nursery shop in the world?" And I thought long and hard about it for 2 seconds. I said, "Yeah, we will." So this is, the way we've been doing business for years. You think of something, you make a decision, and you do it. You don't do it tomorrow or next week. You do it now. Make that decision and do it now. Some things are just too good to miss, and this was one of them. That was £11 million, and they hit it. They built it at the wrong time, and just as it was finished, building stopped selling, and then they. I wanted it, but I wasn't going to spend 11 million, and the prices were falling, so I offered them 7.5, and they told me to go away. Not very politely, because especially if they know you, the agent knows you, they can tell you to go away in any fashion they want, and they know you wouldn't take offence. So they told me to go away, and then they said they've already got a bid higher than that. And then they come back to me a couple of months later and said, "Can I have that?" I go, "No, it's gone down." Because it was going to drop in like a stone. And then they go, "Make me an offer." I said, I wouldn't embarrass you or myself, and you'd tell me to go away again. They said, "Promise I won't. We won't. I offered them 4.5 million. And they go, "You must be joking." I said, "Well, it could be 4 next week." And they said, "Okay." They said, if you use, they sent me a contact list of 50 people they're trying to let it to. They said, if you let it to one of these people, then we expect 5 million. I said, "That's all right, there's no problem. If I let it at £8 a square foot, I'll gladly give you 5 million. But I bought it for 4.5 million, and the next day I let it for £2.95 a foot to somebody that wasn't even on the list. Some people, I won't say they're too greedy, but there is a kind of a norm. If it's £8 a foot, that's what they'll want. Even if there's a recession and they can't get it, they'll still insist on £8 a foot. I said £2.95 a foot, and an Irish company snapped my hand off because it was going to be £3.50 the next year and £4.50 the next year, and so it would go up. So that was a good deal. We kept that for, 10 years and sold it for 9.75 million, and had all the rent. So this was the biggest baby shop in the world. So that was started in that shop, that terraced house, to give Marilyn a few pound extra a week. And an average, you may know this, the average nursery shop anywhere in the world has 6 people working for it. That we had 125 full-time staff in that one shop. So that tells you what we was turning over £40 million. So 32 years that took. Here's some of my mentors. You're telling me I'm finished now?
No.
Oh,
the air come on.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah, it's getting a bit hot, isn't it? Yeah. I think everybody should have mentors. One of my mentors told me a sentence, and everybody can make millions and millions of pounds, even like in this situation here, and any talk. Somebody will say one word or one sentence that will make you millions. In between January the 1st and December the 31st every year, you will hear, if you're paying attention, you will hear a one-liner that you go, that suits me, I can do that. And I heard a one-liner that would make me a lot of money, I was told. Ik piala garam cha. And I ignored it. And I was told this continuously. And I ignored it the next year and the next year and the next year. 8 years later, I thought, I'll try this. And I made millions out of it. So don't ignore people who've got more interest in your business than you have. You know, I've had a lot of people who have had more interest in my business want to help me than I've had. And when I've realised that, then I realised what enthusiasm is, what commitment and what passion is all about in business. I didn't realise until I saw somebody else who'd got nothing to do in my business being more passionate than I was. So these are mentors. I spoke to him the other day. 98 years old he is now. I've known him from since 1977. Anyway, all good people. So 2011, 3rd of February, I picked up a business for nothing. And it was going bust. There had 12 people in the office, architects and secretaries and do whatever you have in an office. Really, really skilled people who could build. So I met the guy for half an hour. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I've got a pram shop I'm selling." He says, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm going to go into building." He says, "Well, why don't you take over our company? Because we've got no money. We've got no land. We've just finished 280 houses for somebody else. We've got nothing." And it was in 2011 where I was going to start up in building, and there was loads of builders going down. I'll give him, I think it was 37 or 39,000 pounds there and then to pay the wages for that month. And then we had that business. We built 600 houses in that business, and we sold it in 2018, sorry. Going back to 2012, after we sold Kiddicare and I was out of it completely, Marville Properties built this 30,000 square foot for 350 staff. We've still got it. The best BREEAM excellent building in Peterborough in 2012, that was. So this is the kind of place we're building. Got another business for free, a marina. We've got planning permission. Now it was 180 berth. We've got planning permission for 280, 20 living 2-storey boats, and a pub, restaurant, retail space, and 60 houses. All we're doing at the moment is just letting out 130,000 square foot of industrial. And I'm reluctant to start building because where will those people in the industrial buildings go? And that's my thought. If I could find another place and build some industrial to put them on in a near vicinity, then I would rehouse them and start this. But that project's on hold at the moment. So the key to that is some people can't see what's under their control. The people who sold me the buildings couldn't see there was another business in there, the chandlery business, and it was under their control. Some businesses are too big and they don't think of how to get the best value. 2014, we just started renovating or taking offices. So we was the first in Peterborough to take offices and convert them into apartments. Soon everybody got onto that type of thing, and we came out of it because who wants to be competing with higher prices? And we'd done our job. We did 100 conversions, and then we left it. So the key is to be first in and probably first out. And if you can build a business to sell it, then do that. and this, I bought this piece of land for this apartment block in Hampton when prices were like half in the recession, and I just kept hold of it, and we've had that now for 10 years, and we was going to sell them. So, and then the day before we put them on the market, I don't know, it was Marilyn or somebody said, why don't you keep them? So we did. So we've had 10 years rent, you know, and it was just something, and I've missed out in the 80s and 90s. We became the biggest landlord, private landlord in Peterborough with houses. That was 4 or 5 bedroom houses, ex-council houses. Nowadays, they probably are all converted into HMOs. But we had that business, we built that business up from nothing. So 2019, there is windows of opportunities. There's windows of opportunities today, probably in your sector, and I don't know what they are, but you will probably know what they are. So there was a window of opportunity in 2019 or 18 for some new offices. No offices in Peterborough had been built for 12 years that I know of. I built the ones in 2012. That was about it. Yeah. And then we built these and a Starbucks. So we own Starbucks and rent it. We own these buildings. Sop and Sop, the insurance people. Handels Banken, which is our bank. I don't own it. It's just we use it. And so that's the kind of building we're building at the moment. But that was a window of opportunity, because we was going to build another 16,000 square foot office and it went dead. So the land is still there, but you've got to realise there's a window where you've got to go in and out, and only you would know that. So don't get distracted. Question everything. Study what doesn't make sense every day. And the last 4 years, that's what I've done, especially 4 years ago and 3 years ago and 2 years ago. 7 hours a day studying what was going on. Not in my business, but in the world. I like this because, who's that? Lone Ranger. He's saying, I thought we were told to put masks on. Why have they put gags on? Yeah. Fear is coupled with great opportunities, and we had some great opportunities when everybody was sat at home, and I bought a van and I put the stickers on the van saying 24-hour security maintenance. We had 140 tenants at that time, and we still have, and they abandoned their businesses. So, but the thieves didn't stop at home. They were out, so I was out as well, and it was a cat and mouse game. That first year did 8,000 miles just around Peterborough. The roads were brilliant, weren't they? There's nobody about. Oh, upset the people who was putting up 5G towers. Or are they 5G towers? 7 hours a day drove my wife mad. She said they're just incompetent. I said, no, they're not. They know exactly what they're doing. Anyway, so 2022. So 2021, 22 was looking for land. We were doing deals, getting planning permission, and had 85 million under construction by 2022. This is just giving you oversight of bits and pieces that we do. There's a lot more to it. So 23 comes along. I looked at a building first week of December. We completed on it 2 days before Christmas. That's a 50,000 square foot office block. 1,200 people work there. 50% of them won't go back to work. They're all working from home. And so that building was half price. We've got it on lease with a fantastic company for 8.5 years. And when that 8.5 years up, if there's all 1,200 people back, they'll probably still want it for another 10 years. And if they don't, it's ideal to put a corridor down the middle and to have 100 apartments. Piece of land we're working on at the moment, we've just bought, and we can get on it 260,000 square foot, one building, which looks like we may have a tenant for. So the key is here, once we're committed to looking after ourselves, the fear went away, leaving us just to invest at 37 pence. And all through our lives, people have said, but what if it went wrong? And it has done a few times. What if it went wrong? What if it doesn't work? And I said, if you've lived in a 10-foot caravan through the winter of 73, 74, with a child in it, and you've got no washing machine, and you've got no money, and you learn how to have dandelion and nettle soup, and then it doesn't matter, because you can always go back and start again. It doesn't matter. So my competition throughout life was a person that I looked in the mirror at. I must do better. I must, I'm better than this. Got to do better than yesterday, or whatever, But it's for me, there was no competition elsewhere. I mean, there's always people doing the similar stuff or the same stuff, but you've got to do it a bit different. John Lewis used to be never known under soul. Why are they? We could run rings around them, because everybody used to say, all the manufacturers used to say, you've got to put your prams at a certain price. And they go, but we wouldn't sell them. John Lewis said so. You've got to be higher than them. I go, okay, I'll do that, but I'll give a free cot with it. John Lewis couldn't get their head round it. And by the time they had, we was doing something different every day. Different package. We used to call them bombs, because when we had the website, the terminology was it was a bomb. And of course, when we was in getting a plane and in the airport, and we'd have the family there, and they'd be going, yeah, well, we're doing this new bomb, and it's like, shh, you'll get arrested, we won't fly. Anyway, so that's my competition. So here we are. Thank you very much for listening to an old man ramble on about his life, and that's my book, and we go on to thank you very much, and we go on to some questions if there is any.
Any questions, guys? Is it the same company from day one?
Barry, who's at the back there, he's been with me 26 years now, haven't you, Barry? Yeah, Barry made our first website in Kiddicare. And Barry said, I'm going to put some questions up. Don't look at them. No, he told me not to look at them. Barry put some questions up there so that if you can't think of any, you may want to use them. Let me have a look at them. Yeah. So is there any...
It's a cracking book there, man. I listened to your audio book.
Have you?
Yeah, I listened to the whole thing, mate.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I really did.
Did you give me a 5-star review?
I don't think I did, mate, to be fair, but I just did then.
Well, yeah, it really helps, okay. And all the money goes to charity. So I don't get any of the money for what I do nowadays.
You made me proud of you for your public speaking, so yeah. That was in there.
Thank you very much. Hiya.
Hi. What motivates you to continue now?
Alcohol. I love alcohol.
That was the least thing I expected.
And you know, so many people, so many of my friends that have made it are killing themselves. They're out in the sunshine, lucky people. But I mean, I go every. Now I've started to go. But if you're out in the sunshine, you go abroad, you get this 12 o'clock. Oh, it's 12 o'clock. We'll have a drink. You know, we'll have a start with a scotch or whatever. That is, yeah. So that is the truth of deep down food. You know, I try and not have so much food because I love food, and I try and not have so much alcohol because I know I look in the mirror and I not only see my competition, I want to see, you know, do I look all right for 74? You know, it's like that. You know, how long have you got? Have I got another 30 years or have I got another 3 weeks? So I might as well do something. And somebody said to me years and years ago, before I did any public speaking, don't go to your grave with your songs left in you. So in other words, I haven't got any competition. I haven't got somebody. I don't. Years ago, when I was your age, there would be things that I wouldn't tell people because that was for our business, to protect our business. So don't go to your grave with your songs left in you. I might as well share them, and it keeps my brain working, and you know, and all the money that I earn from it, it goes to charities. So you know, that's it. That's it, really. I just want to carry on, and it helps people, and it helps me. So it's two-way.
So you do all you don't drink?
Oh, I drink like a fish. That's the trouble. That is, you know, and I know. Yeah, so it's dreadful. Yeah.
Some of our driving forces is sort of getting the kids involved in the business and stuff like that as one of your sort of end goals.
Yeah.
I noticed that you said yours is a family business. Was that ever one of your goals to incorporate your children into the business? And was that an easy?
Oh yeah, very easy. Yeah. The kids go to school, are brainwashed by teachers who are brainwashed, and they don't teach anything about life. We brought our kids up. Our first child was 71, and we started the shop. So it's easy to get the children into the shop where it wasn't on the building site. Obviously, you can't on the building site. But both of our children left school at 13 because one of them said, "I'm not going there anymore," and Marilyn was all for education, and so was I, but it was a different education. She thought there was being educated at school, and I thought they'd be educated with me. So she said, "I'm not going again." This was in the summer holidays when she was 13. Why? Because they're just a load of kids and they play about. She'd been used to working in the shop since she was 10 every night, because the school was just in Orton Centre. So every night she would come into the shop, and every Saturday she'd be on the shop floor selling prams. She was, by 13, she was an adult. The other one was being bullied. We had to take her, one of the schools closed down, beautiful school that all the Army and Air Force people used to send their kids to. Well, our girl went there because it was just at the back of our house, and it shut down, and we had to send her to the girls' school in Stamford with 1,000 girls, and she went in like the middle of the term, and they just rejected her, and she became a bulimic, is it? What's that? Yeah, she couldn't eat. She'd stopped eating. Yeah, I know. I took her out, and they came, and we educated them, and I think self-education is far better. I do.
And they're both still involved in your businesses?
Oh,
they've gone their own way?
One of them is living in Montenegro, in the port, tax exile. And the other one is working with us. We're both multi-millionaires.
Nice.
In fact, I've just signed the paperwork over for the next 50 million of my profit share to go to them. And that's not being nice, that's just stopping £20 million of death duties going to the government. But if I don't do it now, from last April, I've signed the paperwork, so it's from last April, yeah. So all my profits in Beeson Wright Limited, which would be, I don't know, £2, £3, £4 million a year, goes to them. And I'll throw my pension, I'll still make a lot of money on the pension, because even when you can't put any more money into your pension, you can still deal in your pension and make a lot of money. That's going to, that's already set aside for some of the family. So I'm doing, I don't get, whatever I do, I don't get anything, only the thrill of the deal, and that is something that I like. Getting involved in design, and so back to your question about the kids. Bring the kids in early. Somebody said to me the other day, "Oh no, I can't see you at night, or because a child has to go to bed at a certain time, baby." No, well, come out with us. Bring your pushchair. Oh no, it'd be too noisy. Well, our kids slept in the pushchairs because we used to go into restaurants every night because we hadn't got time. We used to see reps at nights and not in the day. So they come into our world. We didn't cater for them, and they've come into the real world. And one of them's doing a road trip around Texas at the moment with 4 kids, which was 3, 6, 10 and 13. So and at 2 o'clock, you can ring them at 2 o'clock, because that's, I don't know whether they wake up but they're still doing business while they're out there, so so it's good. I would always have kids in free labour. No, let me tell you something. My kids from the age of 10 got a wage packet for every hour they did, and they could do whatever they liked with it. Nothing to do with me, as long as it wasn't drugs, that was all right, but they could do anything they liked. And when a kid says, "Oh, I want an iPad or something," and it's 600 quid, I go, "Yeah, you can have it. All you got to do is earn it, work for it." And when they get their own money, they don't want to spend it. They get wise. And I've got a grandchild who started business at 5, cleaning gutters out and drains out and things, not gutters high, I'm talking about ACOs and things like that, and cleaning. 5, right? He came round to my house in Norfolk last weekend. "Well, what can I do, Pop? Well, you can cut the lawn." And apparently I've got a good mower, because he bought one for £360 last year, because he goes round, and his mum goes round with, he's 10 now, and mum goes round the village with him, and he cuts people's grass, and he's got a strimmer, and he's got everything, hedge cutter, everything, right? And he says, he gets home, he says, "Mum, I'm going to upgrade my mower." This is a 10-year-old. He's going to upgrade his mower because he realises he can get through it quicker. So he can earn his £5 in an hour instead of an hour and a quarter. So he's thinking. Yeah.
What I was just saying, have you ever thought about expanding your business to other continents or other places?
No. No way. I even expanded it down to Newark. Oh my God, I bought 6 houses in Newark, right? 6 tenants. My window won't shut. Well, try harder. Put some soap on it. Okay, what? You're only paying me like £4 a week rent. This was in the early days. That soon settled me of expanding. Why would? Right. Okay. All these windows around here. I would want all the windows around here and all the windows in the other houses or factories. I'd want to do the lot before I went anywhere else in the world. Why would I go somewhere in the world what I don't know, where there's mafia, their local mafia, who you know, why would I be there trying to compete with local people when they know? I bought a hotel which was burnt down in Birmingham a few years ago because some of my colleagues in Heidi Estates, they thought it was a good idea because it was a bargain. We couldn't find the plumbers, we couldn't find the electricians, we couldn't find the carpenters, because all of those people in Birmingham were working for people, not for an outsider who comes in and buys a burnt down hotel. Why would they come and work for me as a one-off when they've got their local people they work for? So I got all the crap. And then we had to sell all the apartments cheap because they weren't very good. So that has repeated itself in our business over and over again. As soon as I say, wherever you are, for us, have a radius of 15 minutes by car. And there's loads of business. So that's just my opinion. If you want to go abroad, I know people who have gone, they think America is the place. So nursery products selling in America. One of the companies that I've been invested in for years and years took no notice of me. They just went bust last week, and I've lost all my money because, and that's another thing that I don't do now. I don't invest in other people's companies because I think they're going to work as hard as me. But no, as soon as you start giving them a lot of money, they go up to the plane. So whereas they would go to the fair in Harrogate, say the Pram Fair in Harrogate or London, oh no, they want to go to Dallas, Texas, where all the things there have got different, they've got different rules and regulations. So you can't buy them to bring them over. And then they turn left on the plane, first class, on my money. So no. I think I said that, didn't I? Did I say no?
Have you ever had any investment from other people to build your businesses? Have you always just done it all?
The banks.
Yeah, just the banks.
Yeah. No, I've invested in other people.
Yeah.
And when they've said, I see you're doing really, really well, Nev, can I come in with you? And I go, yeah, find a project and we'll go in. And then they find a project to build a house or two or whatever. Then their wife gets a bit jittery and starts in their ear, and they come and look, yeah, I didn't realise that it was going to take so long and so much, and we want to go on holiday. Well, why have you put half in? And then the next thing is, I've got a big tax bill. Well, didn't you know that before we went in together? And all this crap, and it's like, Marilyn go, how much is your half? Right, okay, yeah, there's a check, gone. And not as though we wanted it, because we was always left with it to sort the mess out.
So would you advise, if you can, try not to bring somebody else in?
I don't know what the banks are like now, but I mean, they're bending over backwards to lend us money at ridiculous rates because we've proved ourselves over and over and over again over the years. I would always use a bank or, definitely, I wouldn't go in with anybody. No, I was in 2018, 30 restaurants in London. They have this habit of going bust now, where they should have sold, and they blame it onto the lockdown. Lockdown has really hit restaurants in London, but funny how they go bust, and then the next day they're still open. And Muggins has lost all of his money, millions. bitter taste in my mouth. Isn't it? Yeah. What was that about poison? Don't poison yourself.
Yeah, you clearly manage lots of different people. And I've got sort of a two-part question. How would you describe your management style, and what's your biggest people problem you've had, and how do you overcome it?
I've had loads of people problems. Because just going to the shop, for instance, people think if they get a job in a shop, it's a job in between real jobs. So they go, oh, shop, yeah, I'll take the shop job because I haven't got a job. But when I get a real job, then I'll go. So once a person training. People used to say, I've never been in any company that is dedicated so much time to training. And once the people know that you are dedicated to their success. I used to say, if you come in Kiddicare and I met you on the first day, I'd say, what's your name? Chris. I'd say, welcome to Kiddicare, Chris. When you leave, and you go, I've only been here 5 minutes. No, when you leave, because the chances are you will, it's my job to make sure that you take more knowledge with you when you go than you've come here today. And they go, wow, this person is really interested in my welfare, my education. Because what is the point of wasting your time in working for somebody if you're not going to learn? And what is the point of employing somebody if they're not going to learn? They may leave, well, that's fine. But while you've got them there, they're doing more for your company than somebody who's not interested. A lot of people go, I wouldn't teach anybody because they'll only leave and start up on their own. No, they won't, because the majority, I'm talking about 99% of people won't, because 90% will be on the teacups and they won't risk anything. 9% will be, I'm going to go self-employed, and they never do. So don't ever be worried about training people, and the more you put into them, the more they will stay. I had people stop 20 years, loads of people stop 20 years. Barry's 26. Yeah, so, that's it. I forgot what the question was.
Well, that sort of answers what was the biggest challenge you had? And biggest is training people so they have a bit of commitment.
No, we had systems. We had systems all the time. When we had a problem, we made a system. When we had another problem, we tweaked the system. So people would come in, they wasn't responsible, so they had a buddy. The buddy was responsible, so they would do their best, because from day one they was being educated, and we were serious, and they wouldn't want to let their buddy down. The buddy wasn't responsible because the manager was. The buddy wouldn't let the manager down, and so it grew, responsibility grew, and they took it on themselves to learn. So yeah, we would take on 20 people knowing we'd only get one person who would fit. And so if it was more than one, so we got through a lot of people. But we helped them on the way, make that decision that retail wasn't for them. And now what we do subcontract. And as you probably know, you've got to be good if you're a subcontractor. You've got to be the best at what you do. So that's what we do now.
Cool.
Yeah. I think somebody's had their hand up for a long time. Oh, yeah.
How did you build your management team?
I'm still building it. Yeah. So when you turn over 200,000, you've got yourself probably, and then when you get to 15 people working for you, then you're chasing around like a madman. But you've got to choose somebody. And I just used to employ people, and then people used to come out. They used to come out and do things, and they used to become part of the management. So there were one or two people I brought in, but that was later on, like a financial director and managers. But in Kiddicare we had 12 managers, and they all come up from the shop floor. Yeah, we recognised what people were good at. somebody worked for us and they caught a thief. And we go, how did you do that? And he says, well, I used to live in London and I was on Tottenham Court Road and the main streets, and I was a security guard. I said, you're our security manager. That's it. Job changed, you know. And things like that all the time. We took people's skills and we found out what they were, and then we used to build the business with their skills. We did. So people always work better if they're happy in their job and doing what they want. If they can create, if they've got a hobby and they can create that into a job in your business, then they know they're secure and they're doing a good job, and they're happy and they'll stay. It was very difficult all the time. Yeah, still is today. Yeah. Sorry, but...
Thank you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
Just a bit of a random question, because I'm in development and property.
Yeah.
Sort of progressive background. I've followed you through the story. Obviously, you're a hell of a lot further down the path. But
A lot older.
yeah, just what you mentioned there, what quite intriguing. And, when you're at your level, what sort of rates are like lending at, like even today to you?
What, 1%?
Really?
Yeah. 0.80 over base. I've got an overdraft. I haven't got an overdraft, but I've got an overdraft facility of 20 odd million.
What's that hinged against then? Your property or a business?
They say do whatever you like with it. Put it into the stock market, do whatever you like. At the end of the day, you know, what do you... But I'll ask you this question. If somebody give you £20 million today at 1%, what the hell would you do with it?
Property development.
That's a... But...
Well, commercial sheds like what you're doing.
It's... Yeah, what I'm saying is you could soon go bust. If somebody give you so much money and he was sitting there and you was paying 1% over base, and you've got to find the people, you've got to find the land, you've got to find the people, you've got to get planning permission. Well, that's, you know, how do you do it? You've got to get planning permission first, and that's going to take you 2 years. You're going to sit there with 20 million in the bank for 2 years, you know, and it's like, it's got to be done. You've got to go up the ladder one step at a time, because so many people go bust because they've been given some money. I was speaking to somebody the other day, and people give them money, but they haven't paid it back because they've invested in what you've said, property, but now they can't get it out. So you've got to... It's a journey to be savoured, a journey to be for you to be happy in doing it. And I know we all, and this is why I keep saying push, 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 go to the next level. But you've got to understand that you've got a base. And every time that we bought a property, we gave the deeds to the bank, and they're going, don't want any more deeds, don't want any more deeds. I say, well, I'm not paying to have them put in my solicitor's office. And the bank is free, so you might as well have them. And go, but we've got loads, you can have all the deeds. And our house included. So I was showing them my commitment to the business and to them. I would say, thank you very much for lending me this, and then pay it back. Yeah, so it's very difficult. You know, a lot of people think they know what to do with the money, but it's not as easy as that.
You know, if you were starting again tomorrow with
Yeah.
nothing, no reputation, but knowing what you know now,
Yeah.
would you look to get loans and grow quickly, or would you start from nothing and build up slowly again?
Knowing what I know now,
Yeah.
then I would get loans
Yeah.
from the bank. Because, I mean, if I didn't know what I knew now, I'd have to start from scratch again and learn. But I know now, and so that you could, the more you've got, the more you can make. I mean, it's like buying that at 4.5 million. How many people had 4.5 million cash? Oh, and the other thing is, like, I bought that 50,000 square foot building of what I class as half price. One, they phoned me because agents have got this book of people, and they know how much money they've got, they know if they can make a decision, and they know if you say yes, you mean it, and you can act quick. So people go, oh, if I got that deal that you got, I would go into business. No, you'll never get the deal. You'll never get the deal that I've got, because you have to be in it to win it. You have to prove yourself. You have to get into that book of the agent who just goes, I know somebody will buy this. Or if they don't want it, they'll just say no. But they won't mess you about. And they'll give you a price, and that's it. And it's and so that takes a long, long time to get to that point.
Yeah.
It does. But enjoy it. Enjoy the little things as you're going along.
We've got time for about 2 more questions.
Yeah.
Having become more successful over the years, where you've had the opportunities to take a risk, invest in something else, or start a new venture, how have you got over the fear of sort of risking losing what you've built and sort of keep moving forward, I suppose, when you didn't need to, if that makes sense?
Yeah, it does. Yes. So if you're selling something, a product, then you'll go to a product fair and you'll see something else and you'll think, I could sell that as well. But you can't always. And there's so many times that we've thought, we could sell that because all the co-ops sell it, all the petrol stations sell it, and we put it in our shop and nobody wants it. And it's like, and that was a bad idea, and you do that over and over again. But if you don't try these things, and there's a certain percentage of your business that won't work, I mean, get rid of it quick, but sometimes it will work, and then expand on it. So it is part and part of the business. I never had my own bank account until 2011. All the money that I ever had was in the business. And banks used to say to me, I've looked at your books, Neville, why haven't you got any personal money? I go, well, why would I want personal money when I've got a column in the accounts that shows what I've taken out? If I want something, I will take it out and it will be there. But what's the point of having it in another bank earning no interest when I could and stifle in the business? What's the point of having £1,000 or £10,000 in the bank when actually I could buy more prams and sell more, because the more you've got, the more you'll sell. But then if I want to go on holiday and spend £100,000, then I could have a sale. I'll put a sale on this week. And then, we did. If we wanted a house or something, if you want a house, you have a big sale in the shop, and you bring in £100,000 a day, and within a couple of weeks you've got that for that building. If you want more, so I want £300,000 or £400,000 worth off a company that's selling stuff off because it's last year's models. I can say, right, I tell you what, I will have that, ship it into my warehouse, and I've got a place that I'm selling. As soon as that's sold, I'll give you the £300,000, which we used to juggle money like that. I know it's very difficult now because one business can't support another. And that, getting my head around that has been a task. So all of our businesses have to run separate and look after themselves, unless you've got a group, and we've got some groups where we can interchange money. So, but that's the accountant that sorts that out. Yeah, but I've got no fear of that, because there's always that, we can always go back to the caravan. We didn't want to, but that was a point of, you'd lose your fear because you knew you were capable of looking after yourself. You didn't need all the toys, the Ferraris and the Bentleys and stuff that I had. I didn't need them. So therefore, it was that fear had gone because I could go back to the caravan. Now, I didn't want to go back to the caravan, and I would never do that. But the thing was, if I had to, I had to. So the fear had gone. Everything is in between your two ears. And it's like all these people go, I work for somebody and it's a secure job. Oh, so you say to the person, I often say to the person, you work for so-and-so, so how much money have they got? Well, I don't know. Well, do they own any property? Well, I don't know. Well, do they owe the bank money? I don't know. And you have put yourself into that business. You've got a mortgage, you've got a loan on your car, they pay for all your expenses, and you know nothing about the business you work for. Now that is dangerous. And I had 18 jobs and I never knew anything about any of the businesses that I work for. And that's more risk, I would have thought, than being self-employed. So, I was talking to you. So it's yeah. So fear is in the mind, and you can always start again. It's only money, isn't it? And I've lost a lot of money over the years.
One last question. Are you okay?
Hello. Hiya.
I've listened to you.
Rambling.
Twice now. Picked up on what you said last time as well, which I'm not sure you mentioned this time.
I try and do a different thing each time.
It's good to vary slightly, but that's fine. All it was, you said something about working, what your job role was in the business last time. Like even though it was your company,
yeah.
It wasn't your wife's company,
yeah.
You weren't like really doing the top role, you sort of were a bit further down.
I was right down the bottom.
Yeah.
I was.
But I just wanted to know how you obviously worked that, because
I loved it.
Yeah, this is it. So obviously I'm running my own company on my own, and I know my flaws, I know what I'm not good at, and things at the top are probably not suited to some me. I'm really good at selling.
Yeah.
So I like going out there and selling.
Yeah.
And I feel like, can I still make it work by doing that?
Yeah.
And I wanted to know, obviously you've been there on a bigger level than I had, and see how you obviously made it work by doing a role which was probably not the top.
Well, wherever I went in, I'd grab a brush and start sweeping up, because if I was in pick and pack and there was 30 people working there, I could see what all of them was doing. I could hear what was going on. I could educate them if needs to be. We used to have telephones that we had 10 girls on customer service. All those 10 girls knew that they were being listened into for training. And there was no problem, because we wouldn't bawl anybody out. It was just purely business. We were training these people. So you can do anything in your business as long as you're not focused and can't see. All through my business, I've been able to see what's around. So I used to have this, I've got a 20-minute span of really focus. So I'd spend 20 minutes in the accounts department, 20 minutes in the video department, 20 minutes in the pick and pack, 20 minutes with the goods inwards, 20 minutes in the restaurant, 20 minutes, and that the day used to be taken up.
Yeah, spread yourself.
Yeah, and I was around, and that's what I like doing. And helping people and answering their questions and training. Yeah. So you don't need to be at the top. When I was at the top, I've had times when you at the top, 2 Bentleys outside, and why I don't know. And then I've had this where you get arrogant, and I hated that, and I'm glad I wasn't arrogant for very long, but I'm ashamed to say I was, but everybody is the same. Everybody is unique, and everybody can put into your business something what you can't. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can we give Neville a massive...
Thank you very much.
I'm not too sure how I'm going to beat that on Q&A. Did we have a lot of fun, get a lot of knowledge from Neville? Yeah. Massive. So I'd like to invite you back at some point if that's possible.
No problem.
Yeah, fantastic.
No problem.
Cool.
Are you finished with me?
Once again, can we have a round of applause?
Thank you very much.